Sunil Grover is an actor that I feel has so much potential. Coming in the league of comedic actors whom if you cast in dramatic roles that allow them to use a muscle never seen by the public, they're bound to surprise anyone. So when I got to know that Vikas Behl is creating an 8-episode dark comedy thriller series with Grover in the lead role, I was thoroughly excited. Sunflower is a residential society that inhabits some of the most interesting characters, and unfortunately, a murder takes place in the apartment complex, and the police investigation leads to fingers being pointed towards several residents, one of which includes Sonu Singh, played by Sunil Grover, a 35-year-old loner sales agent that is sincere, honest, and slightly delusional. The series takes the route of becoming an absurd thriller, exploring comedic gags and hilarious sequences while focusing on the most grave situations. The brilliance intense without me giving anything away about Sunflower and its plot is presented in their synopsis, which states, between Sonu tightening the noose around his own neck, the murderers living on the edge, and the society trying to uplift its society's values, Sunflower is a quirky murder mystery in a comedy of errors. So did the series really explore the potential of making a compelling and hilarious thriller? Does it finally explore the dark side of an actor like Sunil Grover? Let's find out. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects in no particular order so that you guys can ultimately decide whether Sunflower on ZEE5 is worth your time or not. The Ensemble Cast. There is absolutely no one who can debate with you that the ensemble cast of this series is probably one of the most talented pool of actors. The issue is actually not the actors when it comes to this show, but the direction in which the material takes them. Girish Kulkarni plays Inspector Tambe. The man is in full mode like he was in the captivating Anurag Kashyap film Ugly. He loves to hang out with the opposite sex and puts on his work mode face whenever required. The natural way in which his dialogues are delivered makes you really think, no wonder the man is revered so much for his talent. Ashish, Vidyarthi, another veteran in the game, plays the role of Dilip Iyer, a man from Sunflower Society who's standing up for elections to become chairman and is motivated to keep the sanctity of the society intact. He is basically that uncle in everyone's apartment complex who thinks that he is a gatekeeper of everything pure and cultural, while actually just being an ignorant bigot. The fact that I got so annoyed by his character and made parallels with people in my real life tells you on how well he portrayed this role. Mukul Chadda as Mr. Ahuja had so much potential as a character to be explored, but we barely scratched the surface with his psychological state and simmering anger, something that I will come to later. Ranvir Shorey, another interesting character, playing the investigating officer DG, is terribly underutilized. Whenever he comes on screen, he is absolutely brilliant, but he comes only in flashes. Similarly, I thought this was the perfect opportunity where Grover could really show off his range as an actor. Sonu Singh has so much potential to have a dark side, and while this season presents a hint of what may have shaped Sonu to become this way, he is naive, soft-spoken, and almost unaware of his surroundings, we are left to believe that Sonu is nothing but that sheltered individual. This is something I'll talk about also. I think the biggest issue with the series is its screenplay. There is an absolute lack of focus on what it should explore or spend time on. The series goes in so many directions that it often frustrates you as you want to love it for the talented people involved in it. When the investigation is finally catching up some steam, it abandons the storyline and characters and deems it fit to focus on subplots for comedic relief. You have the politics of building residents, a possible abduction in the process, theft that takes place in a corporate office, stolen jeans and the conspiracy behind it, and an old ailing man that needs assistance, all taking place in random intervals, almost making you wish the creators went to the drawing board to explore what was most interesting. The prime suspects and the police involved was the most captivating. It's the writing of the show and the way it wanted to explore the crime committed also made me lose interest. The series is how one gets away with the crime versus a whodunit, but doesn't even come close to engaging you the same way like a Drishyam. It's sloppy in many ways of how it expands the case at hand. Moments and absurdity. The series is definitely not your conventional thriller. It is set up in a way to remind you of movies like Blackmail or Choked. There is an investigation at hand, there are prime suspects, each with their interesting personalities, and all of this is presented with a taste of humor, no matter how torrid the situation gets. There are several moments, and I won't lie about it, where I definitely did chuckle. Whether it be Ahuja's little son always giving them gyan, a bai and a watchman having the most hilarious argument in the police station, or an Uber driver chasing Sonu because he is not willing to pay him a cancellation fees. All of it is absurd and momentarily hilarious. Probably the best running gags in the series involve Gurmeet, who is constantly doing riyaz as she is preparing for a singing competition, and the society council that interviews individuals who want to get a flat in Sunflower Apartments, showcasing their lack of inclusivity in the guise of protecting Indian culture. It will remind you of the several living room discussions you may have had with uncles and aunties in the living room, while they showcase their secularism that goes out of the window if it comes walking in their own home. बोलते हैं कि ओपन माइंडेड है पर अपने बच्चों के बारे में आए तो फिर उन्हें ही डिसोन कर देते हैं. So while these moments are hilarious, they run in a parallel direction, taking us away from the most interesting aspect of the series, the investigation of the murder. Over-the-top treatment. I thought this would be the moment where Grover could really do what he did so well in Tandav, play a character that is grounded in reality and while on paper comes across as this sweet, unassuming man, it is only upon further exploration that you may realize that there may be a horrifying story behind those eyes. But the written material and pitch of the series often showcases characters that are extremely exaggerated, something that the current audience has gotten over. There is a love story that is explored, but the pitch of it is so absurd and over the top that it completely takes you away from the storyline. A woman being attracted to toxic men becomes like one of those vintage YouTube psycho girlfriends kind of sketches. Even a sequence where one of the characters is inebriated, the portrayal is like the 90s heroes जो इधर उधर डगमगाते रहते हैं and have their eyes rolling around like Undertaker. Even something as absurd as Kala Kandi got at least a lot of it on point, and no matter how bizarre it got, at least the written material kept you interested. The series also showcases the case being sloppily handled by the police, almost to a dumb level, people getting away with the craziest of situations while being at the scene of the crime, as if it was nothing. Convenient is an understatement for most situations. The potential and Grover. You know, the problem of the series is that while some of its ongoing parallel gags are funny, they have most of the time no connection to the storyline. So you go on this journey of random sequences of a tag being removed from an underwear or an old man that constantly shouts Chuya, or the worst, the stereotypical CEO with an American accent and a privileged daughter. But in the grand scheme of things, it goes nowhere. You know, the series had the potential to carry out several aspects that other films have successfully done in the same genre. The invasive and vapid conversations of a film like Choked, beautifully performed by Amrita Subhash, was missing. The chatter that takes place among the thin walls of societies and how it progresses from rumors to become fact, it was barely explored. You know, when it comes to gags and crime thrillers, it is an art you've seen showcased by a few creators, Raj and DK being one of them, but where it stood out for me was in films like Andhadhun and Ugly. The reason for their superiority as products is that the supporting characters of the films have something to lend to the case at hand. But Sunflower frustratingly goes in tangents that stand out individually, but not for a series that demands attention of the viewer. You also do tell me in the comments below what is your favorite dark comedy thriller in India. You know, on paper, Sunil Grover's character, Sonu Singh, is a fascinating case study. The man comes across as simply unaware of social cues. He craves for any human connection. He sits in a shared Uber pretending to be busy on his phone. He finds solace in telemarketers calling him and is a pushover at work without realizing it. But all of this seems to come across as a facade, as pretense to be his public image. Grover is a perfect vessel to explore the psychological condition of such a man. Why is he the way he is? Why does he have such a calm demeanor? I almost felt like this was the perfect opportunity to be a character like Dexter, who can have a switch as the circumstances please. This is the same case with Mukul Chadda's character. The series writing barely goes in depth to understand why the characters act the way they do. I honestly feel like this on paper was a delicious premise that could have given Grover a platform to show his wicked side, but it only showcases flashes, not enough to truly hit it out of the park. The series lays focus on the case in 2 to 3 episodes, abandons the same and tries to regain our confidence by exploring it again in the last episode, which for me was a little too late as the journey to reach there really tests your patience. The series went from being relatively clever, interestingly absurd, to finally just an above average and mixed bag. And trust me, I wanted wholeheartedly to love this piece. But the problems are unavoidable. There are rumors that season 2 will explore the characters more in depth, but at least we could have been provided a glimpse of that madness. I feel like only if it is renewed for a second season will there be any scope of Sunflower becoming truly wicked. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the series. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.